Good news for Ricciardo ahead of Hungary. AlphaTauri will bring the second part of their upgrade package this week in Hungary, and we sure are excited to see Daniel Ricciardo back as well. The AlphaTauri AT04 has not been the greatest of the sister Red Bull team's cars of recent years, with its average qualifying pace is better only than the Alfa Romeo, and these upgrades will for sure come as an early Christmas present for Ricciardo and Tsunoda. So could we see an AlphaTauri scoring points this week and finally having a decent race? Join us as we delve deeper into the AlphaTauri upgrades, and what exactly are they? Despite being at the tail end of the Formula One constructors rankings, AlphaTauri is optimistic that the latter portion of their major enhancement plan will provide the necessary speed boost during the forthcoming Hungarian Grand Prix. This is where Daniel Ricciardo, who has won 8 races so far, will compete for the first time this season. A big upgrade that made its debut at the British Grand Prix has been in the works for several months, aimed specifically at augmenting grip in slow corners. The second component of this upgrade is due to be launched this week in Budapest. Yuki Tsunoda and his new colleague Daniel Ricciardo will be the ones putting it to the test on the racetrack. The Silverstone part of the upgrade was based around a new floor, upper bodywork and diffuser. There was also a new version of the medium downforce rear wing, though this was a separate development. Despite this, drivers Yuki Tsunoda and Nyck de Vries seemingly didn't feel the full effects of the upgrades on track, with both cars failing to get out of Q1 before finishing 16th and 17th in Sunday's race. It's thought the high-speed, fast-flowing nature of Silverstone may not have played into the new-look AlphaTauri's strengths, unlike the twisting turns of Budapest that should reveal its true pace. So what are these upgrades, and what can we expect from the weak AlphaTauri this weekend? First of all, the tunnel inlet area is being changed. Enhancing the performance of the underfloor by managing the airflow begins at the tunnel inlets. By raising the front edge of the floor, the flow volume through the underfloor has been boosted. Deciding how to divide the incoming air between the underfloor and the air being expelled around the sides is crucial to maximizing the floor's efficiency. The air being dispersed to the sides assists in accelerating the airflow going through the underfloor tunnels. The contrast in air pressure between the outside and the underfloor is what shapes the floor's downforce. The underfloor air, in its haste to occupy lower pressure areas, generates downforce. The faster it flows, the stronger the downforce. The better the floor can be insulated by the external airflow, the quicker the underfloor air will move. However, there's a limit to the volume that can be utilized. Determining the ideal balance between underflow airflow and the air expelled around the sides is vital. This will partially depend on the speed at which the airflow can be encouraged to move. This is when vortex generators, small protruding appendages that stir the air into rotating circles, which in turn speed up the surrounding air, come into play. In addition to raising the floor of the AlphaTauri, a change that upgrades underfloor airflow volume, modifications have been made to the roof of the tunnel entry and the vane shapes, all aimed at amplifying vortex strength and energizing the increased volume. Adjustments to the floor and fences necessitated alterations to the floor edge geometry to fine-tune the flow. The single wing profile allowed within the floor edge has been expanded inward towards the underflow at the rear through a cutout. This strategy modulates the air pressure, creating a more effective seal on the floor edge and enabling the tunnels to produce additional downforce. The upper rear bodywork has been broadened to create an improved cannon shape. AlphaTauri argues that this modification minimizes the airflow disruption caused by yaw and steering. The expanded bodywork section increases static pressure, making it more resilient to the turbulence that is introduced to the airflow in that region of the car as it turns against the incoming air. It enhances the stability and uniformity of the airflow in that area, which in turn improves the efficiency of the floor edge beneath. Next up, the diffuser walls at the tunnel exits have been curved outward, which allows the airflow to expand laterally. This action consequently draws the airflow wake out from the rear tires, minimizing the obstruction that forms for the diffuser. The medium downforce rear wing has also been adjusted, with increased loading in the center and less on the outer ends. This more elliptical shape should offer similar downforce with less drag. Although the pressure taps taken at Silverstone suggested that the updates were giving the desired boost in downforce, the car's balance was not optimized. Chief race engineer Jonathan Eddolls commented on Friday night at Silverstone, "Analysis showed that the update is actually working well. We made further changes to the car in FP2, but it's fair to say we didn't hit the sweet spot with either car in terms of balance on the soft tyre short runs, lacking front end, which is a lap time killer here. High track temperatures exacerbated the front tire overheating, which resulted in a lack of front grip, so we think there is a step of lap time to come with better balance. In summary, the aero update shows gains in the data, and the focus of the overnight work will be to see what is required with setup and driving to utilize this extra performance and turn that into lap time. Technical Director Jody Egginton added, "The aero update we have introduced here appears to be broadly in line with expectations, but it has not been enough to move us forward in Silverstone. The further planned aero update for Hungary will be an important step to start addressing this to get back on track towards achieving our objectives." What can we expect from Ricciardo and Tsunoda's partnership is the main question now. I believe that Ricciardo's arrival provides a fresh and recognized standard for Tsunoda. It's highly unlikely that Ricciardo won't match Tsunoda's performance, but it's not out of the question that Tsunoda could surpass him for the remainder of the season. Such an outcome could substantially enhance Tsunoda's reputation in a way that besting De Vries could not. While some might regard a potential victory over Ricciardo as further proof that Ricciardo has lost his former prowess, the right people, those who matter, will understand that defeating Ricciardo signifies a more substantial measure of Tsunoda's improvement and performance level than beating his predecessor did. However, if Tsunoda fails to beat Ricciardo, he risks losing the acclaim he's been garnering since late last year. Questions about his ultimate potential and capability will resurface. His chances of advancing within the Red Bull program could come to a halt, and both Honda and its 2026 partner Aston Martin may reassess Tsunoda's long-term role in their plans. A driven and in-form Ricciardo is a formidable benchmark for Tsunoda, both on and off the track. If Ricciardo performs at his best, he will be tough to beat. However, if Tsunoda does manage to outperform him, it will be a significant achievement. De Vries didn't provide the kind of competition that could propel Tsunoda's career forward, so confronting Ricciardo offers a greater potential upside. Ricciardo could overshadow Tsunoda, but he could also help confirm that Tsunoda's development is genuine. Many people are assuming that main goal of Ricciardo going to AlphaTauri is simply to assess Yuki, but I believe it's actually the secondary goal. Red Bull gave their sister team the freedom a few years back to be a more independent team, and they became the worst team on the grid. What I think is happening is that Red Bull wants to rebuild AlphaTauri, link it again closer to them, and make it a solid midfield team as they were in the past. Ricciardo is part of the process in my opinion, since they have a lot of data on him in RB19, and it should make it easier to evaluate AlphaTauri's performance and prepare a solid upgrade plan for that car. As for the drivers, as long as one is not beaten with a huge margin by the other, they both will be good. Danny will have the excuse that the car is so awful and doesn't fit his driving style, the same way as McLaren didn't. Yuki will have the excuse that it's Daniel Ricciardo, a driver who was the only one to ever be any challenge for Max and had beaten Ocon, Hulk and Vettel, who are all considered decent drivers. Nevertheless, spirits are high in the team, as we can conclude from the recent interviews. Yuki Tsunoda is excited to drive with Ricciardo and has praised De Vries. "I'm looking forward to working with Daniel," said Tsunoda. "I can't say I know him very well, but we had a fun day filming together earlier this year in Miami. I think I'll benefit from having a very good, experienced driver as a teammate. I'm sure I can learn lots of things from him, and I also expect he will be able to bring something to the team and move the car development forward. I would also like to say that I had an enjoyable time over the past 10 races with Nyck. I learned from him, and we also had a good time away from the track." With Horner stating that they want to have a well-prepared reserve talent just proves that while Red Bull's goal might be to improve AlphaTauri, then Ricciardo's goal is certainly to drive a Red Bull in the near future. Whether that will come to fruition, we will see, but for now, I believe the true nature and how good the Faenza car is will be proven soon enough, maybe even in Hungary. Let us know your thoughts and opinions. Do you think Ricciardo can score points in this car? Thanks for watching Racing Zone, and we'll see you next time.